we got some breaking news right now. Nick Sorter is reporting that explosions are heard in Tehran, Iran, per Wall Street Journal. Nick says, it seems it has begun. Pray for America, pray for our troops, which is great. I love the sentiment, but this should not be the United States carrying out these attacks. And if I understand correctly, it is not the United States. So
what's good old Nick reporting, or is he reporting somebody else's reporting?
I think he's reporting someone else's reporting.
I stay away from it because I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
now, this guy's saying, is Israel attacks Iran?
Yeah, Israel attacks Iran. Visuals from Tehran. We've got some video here.
Yeah.
What's up? Oh, okay. All right. So.
Well, that could have been from the last time.
Yeah, I'm
gonna keep calm. I don't know any. I'm gonna keep calm. I'm gonna wait.
Well, I mean, there's a.
No, we're all gonna die.
Eventually.
That is true.
Sorry, I'm laughing at.
Look, I hope that. I mean, I'll withhold judgment until we see what's going on. But I hope that the United States doesn't get plunged into another Mideast war. I mean, I went to Afghanistan as a Marine. I remember, 9/11 happened when I was a freshman in high school, and it shaped like that whole teen and 20 years. And I went to Afghanistan. I remember totally sold on the mission. We got to go get the bad guys. They're going to come here to get us. I mean, it was a true believer. And then you get to Afghanistan and you're like, oh my gosh, this is never going to be, it doesn't matter how many, Dari or Pashtun constitutions we print. This ain't going to stick. It ain't going to take root. And I hope that.
I went to Iraq, dude, and it was with the Marines, 24th. There ain't no weapons of mass destruction here. Hey, Colonel, there's no weapons here. We've been told we're here to impart democracy. I'm like, oh no.
You can't make people want something. It's the whole, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
You better get it right before you start sending my brother over here. You see what I'm saying?
I completely agree with you. But that was the failing of the first 10 years of this century. The Bush administration's assertions that actually they're just like us, and we can just show them democracy, and they will obviously decide that they want Jeffersonian Republican government. And
that's crazy. I'm not even fully convinced I want those.
Yeah, right.
They only said that after we were there. That wasn't the reason.
No, I don't know. That was very much sort of the neoconservative thinking at the time. It's that, look, there are sort of universal political values that are shared across time, culture, and space, and that there are regimes that from time to time and place to place will oppress those natural instincts. And so we need to topple those regimes to then let freedom breathe.
Yeah.
And I think that philosophy...
That's an error.
It is a total error.
Completely. Let's remember, though, that's not... Well, I watched the planes hit the Twin Towers, and I covered the Ground Zero for a year. The action to send my cousin, me, you, the way they sold it to us was not about selling democracy. It was like, those fuckers hit us, go get that guy, and then some more BS about they were also involved.
Well, my biggest memory of the Iraq War and the justification for it and stuff was all about weapons of mass destruction. It was all about the nuclear threat that Saddam Hussein would pose to the United States, and the possibility of not just a dirty bomb, but an actual functioning nuclear weapon in a port city here in the U.S. That was the argument that was made that I heard most frequently.
But there was the tie to Al Qaeda.
Oh yeah.
Well, look, there was that whole time. There was also a tremendous amount of mission creep, during this time,
exactly.
right? So 9/11 happens. Okay, who did it? Al Qaeda. Those are bad guys, right? No question, bad guys.
No question.
All right, who's harboring them? Well, there's this political party in Afghanistan called the Taliban. So the Taliban is the ruling party of a regime that is harboring the bad guys. So we're going to go and get the bad guys. But then it creeped into, well, if you break it, you buy it.
Yep.
So we're here breaking things. Well, I guess the moral thing to do is to sort of, we're going to blow you up and then we're going to rebuild you. And then Iraq creeped in because people had been salivating over toppling the Saddam Hussein regime for decades. Now you had the pretext where Americans' eyes are now oriented toward the Middle East. Now's the time for Saddam Hussein to go down. So why don't we start a second war in Iraq? And then it just spiraled. And what kept it going for that whole time was a philosophy of regime change, which we've sort of already articulated, which is that these people want freedom. The bad guys don't hate our freedoms, so let's take out the bad guys that hate our freedoms.
And then we'll be safe, and then the people of whatever country they're making the argument for will, democracy will blossom, and that will be.
So here's what happened for 20 years is, in fact, what we'll do is they hate our guts. We're going to pay them through USAID. We're going to build a water treatment plant in Fallujah that never gets built. And when you're over there, right, you run out of cigarettes or chewing tobacco, who do you got to go to get cigarettes? It's the guy in the white robe who's got dough and American tobacco. And you're like...
But I think that what's encouraging, though, is one of the things that propelled President Trump to the national stage. First back in 2015-16, and then again frankly, again in 2020, there were some issues there. And then in 2024 was a rejection of this philosophy.
Yes.
Right? It was a failed experiment for the better part of 30 years or 20 years. And it was a rejection of that. So part of why I hate to see this is not only because I just, war is like not the best thing. It's necessary sometimes, but it's not the best. But I don't want to see Americans forget the lessons that we've learned in Iraq and Afghanistan.
I am surprised, and admittedly, I don't follow geopolitics at all. But the last I heard, and tell me if I'm wrong, the U.S. had a proposal, a sort of compromise, that they would take their uranium enrichment off of their own land. And as far as I had last checked into it, they had not even replied to that proposal yet.
Talking about
Iran had not?
Iran, yes. Yeah. They had not even replied formally to that proposal yet. When this happened,
yes,
I thought at least that Israel would have waited until there was a formal rejection of the U.S.'s proposal to them.
I don't know.
Which wasn't
Wouldn't
even
it be
a guarantee.
nice?
They might have taken it.
Right.
As I said at the start of this segment, I don't know, and I was a younger man when I didn't know, and I just followed.
Yeah.
I'm a wiser man. I don't know. It's a good question you ask. Maybe Israel has intelligence that Iran sped it up. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that video's true. I don't know why the bombs went off, but as a wiser guy, I'm coming at it with caution.
We've got this tweet from Barack Ravid? Yeah. Breaking: Israeli Minister of Defense Israel Katz declares a special state of emergency in the home front throughout the entire state of Israel. Following the state of Israel's preemptive strike against Iran, a missile and drone attack against the state of Israel and its civilian population is expected in the immediate future, Katz said. I think that kind of goes without saying. And if I understand correctly, the opinion is that the response from Iran is not going to be it's not going to be small. It's going to be, you're going to probably see hundreds of missiles shot at Israel. I think that Israel does not expect the Iron Dome to be able to handle the volume.
And what we see, again, assuming this is true, it seems to me, what stands out to me is that the Israeli defense minister did in fact confirm this was a preemptive strike.
Yeah, and that's like what they've been doing for a long time. Like the 6-Day War, that they're kind of like the, let's say, the leading experts on these preemptive strikes and like taking care of something before it even is a problem for you. So that it's interesting to see what's going to happen with all this.
What did they strike?
That hasn't been said yet.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get information as soon as we went live, this is kind of when we started getting reports about 8:00 exactly. So we had to run the whole first segment first before we got to this too. But all the information you have now is what we have.
Yeah,
All AI.
It's all AI.
Just kidding.
It's all AI.
Has anybody in the Trump administration put out a statement? We haven't seen anything yet.
Not that I'm aware.
I'd be curious if during the course of this show, if something comes out.
Yeah, I mean, I would not be surprised if some kind of
Surely there's got to
statement.
be something.
Yeah. Because I was going to ask a question. So yeah, I don't see how the U.S. has to get drawn into this. I do think that Israel could have waited, but I still don't see how the U.S. has to be involved.
Well, those are two different questions. Your second question, I think is an interesting one, which is I don't see why the U.S. should get involved. But your first question was I don't see how it could get involved. And those are slightly different because what's still happening to this day in 2025 is you've got, even on the right, you have a huge philosophical difference on an approach to geopolitics. I mean, there's the sort of neocon view, and then there's the more realist or people call it isolationist view. And it's not particularly clear who within the Defense Department or the national security apparatus, which one controls, which one prevails. And I think ultimately the president as the commander-in-chief has got to make the decision. My sense is that President Trump's inclination is to let the situation develop before he commits any troops. I think President Trump has consistently run on foreign policy prudence, foreign policy restraint, and realism. And I think his first instinct is your instinct, which is like, I don't want to immediately mobilize the troops. This isn't the Bush era
Troops is a big leap. We're involved right now. We're involved with intelligence, armament.
So go ahead, actually, please expand on that. You think that the U.S. is providing intel, and you think that the U.S. is providing them weapons?
And we provide them money. I mean, these are just facts that we know that have been going on for years.
So you're talking about the more broad issue of foreign aid to Israel.
Yeah, there's that we know.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now, just dumping troops in there, I don't know about that, right? But the world already knows this. So let's bring it around back to the border. Who did we let in? Are there Iranian cells here? Is there a way to...
I don't think that. I think the question is almost a guaranteed yes. That there are people, that there are Iranians here. I don't know that they're state sponsored, but there are Iranians here that don't look positively on the U.S. I think that's a fairly safe assumption.
And there was no mechanism or political will to vet anybody over the past 4 years anyway.
So that's the worry. The short-term worry. Short-term.
Sure.
So what have we got here?
We have a couple more things. Kellen sent me this with the Home Front Command. It seems like they're sending this out to people in Israel right now, which is basically saying to adhere to the Home Front Command guidelines, which you'd expect to see in something like this. And then we also have these commercial flights from Ocean Defender here showing how the commercial flights have been rerouted around Tel Aviv and then also around Tehran. So we don't really know necessarily where everything's being struck, but judging by these two, I guess, pieces of information,
they're expecting the
What's
retaliation.
that? What is Ocean Defender? The first one was
Ocean Defender is an X page. Shout out Ocean Defender.
And the first one was the Israeli government, so that's an official.
Correct. This is what they posted out to everyone that's in the...
Well, it's on anyway.
Yeah, well, definitely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is anything good going on, man?
Not today.
Yes, my name's Aaron Reitz, and I'm running for Texas Attorney General. You can go to aaronreitz.com. That's the great news today. Texans can have hope that the next Attorney General is going to be a champion for liberty and justice in the Lone Star State.
Aaron settling right in.
We got it in.
So Ken Paxton, who is currently the AG, right? He's running for which seat is he going to be
The
running?
United States Senate. So John, he's jumped into the Republican primary to primary John Cornyn.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. So Ken Paxton has been the Texas AG for 3 terms, or so 4-year terms, right? It's been just over a decade for him, and Paxton has taken what 15 years ago. State AGs, nobody was really talking about like state AGs, and the same way that they don't talk really about state treasurers or state ag.
Well, I mean, AGs nowadays actually it kind of does matter.
It matters. That's what I'm saying.
Impact now,
but that evolution from AGs kind of being like a B team state office holders, guys who want to be the next governor, or that's why they call AG like aspiring governor, because they're just sitting there and waiting to go be the next one. But it was guys like Paxton and very few others who sort of wielded their constitutional powers to make a state AG something that's really a national force. And so, I'm running for Texas AG, but folks need to understand, and your national audience needs to understand, that if you don't get a good state AG in Texas who presides over the largest Republican law firm in the country by orders of magnitude, you're missing out on an opportunity to really advance the ball for law and order, for justice, for the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. So Paxton is the one that turned it up a notch. He turned it up to 11 and is now running for the Senate. So now the seat's open, and I've jumped in.
Awesome. We actually just got this update. What was that? Yeah, so we just actually got this update from Alana Treen. Donald Trump is convening a cabinet-level meeting as Israel launched what it called preemptive strikes against Iran. A White House official and two sources familiar with the plans told her and Kylie Atwood. The meeting was planned before the strike, the sources say.
Who is she? Alana Treen.
Hold on one second.
I got to check, man. I've been
White House reporter for CNN.
Oh,
So
Let me read the. Let's see.
what was that?
Meetings.
The meeting was expected to focus on the U.S. response to the developing events in Iran. Two of the sources said Trump was seen leaving the congressional picnic at the White House shortly after 8 p.m. The White House declined to comment. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I still can't. I can't imagine how the United States, benefits from being involved in this. I know that the argument that people say is like Israel's our greatest ally or whatever. We need to support Israel because they're surrounded by enemies and they're a democracy in the Middle East and then yada yada yada. But I still don't see why the United States needs to be involved when honestly, it's my opinion that Israel has more than enough technological capability to handle Iran themselves.
Yeah, look, Israel is a critical ally of ours. I think we just need to let the situation develop a little bit. If the president determines that critical American national interests are are at risk of non-intervention, then maybe intervention is the way to go. But I think that what President Trump is going to expect if we do get more involved, and to your point, like there's a sense in which we're already involved because we do provide military aid to our ally Israel, but President Trump, I think, I anticipate that he would, if we do get more involved, be able to articulate a vital national security interest that is more concrete than the basis for the wars that we went to over the past 20 years.
Saudi Arabia's there too.
Yeah, I mean, Saudi Arabia has way more concern about what Iran's doing than the US does.
Also a client/business partner of ours. Remember when the Iranians blew up their pipelines?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so, there was a big party there a couple weeks ago. I don't know, man. But it's not my ballywig, but just my mind's running, right? Okay, so if we put troops over there, we got troops in L.A. tonight, right?
Yeah, I mean, technically, yes, we do.
So just to go back around there,
2000.
just back to the riots and whatever. People are so dumb. The Democrats are really dumb because I'm from Detroit. In the 67 riots, the 81st and the 82nd and the 101st Airborne were in Detroit. In 1943, six battalions came in to stop the riots. In the Civil War in 1863, the United States Army was there. So Detroit has the great history of being the only United States city to be occupied by the United States military 3 times. So this isn't unheard of. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Gavin Newsom's tweeting it.
Yeah,
It's outrageous.
I mean,
Unconstitutional, it's not.
No. In fact, the Trump administration has been well within its rights, within the legal boundaries set up in the Constitution and stuff. As of right now, the military is there, and all they're doing is drawing security for the federal agents, your ICE agents and DHS and stuff, so they can carry out their duties. But otherwise, they're not doing the police work. Like the military is
They're
not
entitled to.
Well, I mean,
Precedent for it.
so I assume there is with the Insurrection Act. The Insurrection Act would have to be invoked for them to do that kind of stuff. And as of right now, to be honest with you, Donald Trump he's acting assertively without acting aggressively. As much as there are people that are going to swear up and down that he's being aggressive, the federal agents carrying out their job is not aggressive. That is just them doing their jobs.
The hysterics from the left over the very disciplined approach that the president has taken is just totally disproportionate and weird, frankly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not weird. It's a tactic, with a goal.
Well, yes, and also the left is weird, and it's they've lost their minds over a completely reasonable and sort of tempered response almost.
Yeah,
I like the left. They're cool. This is the far left nut jobs.
Yeah.
The left can lead us places. You know what I mean? Those are my friends too.
I don't agree with that, but
Well, you know, I just try to, you know, get along in the world, but what's going on, I want no part of it. I don't understand it, and I will stand against it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something that I think that the majority of what used to be considered blue dog Democrats, that's the way they feel as well. They're like, wait a minute, we're not supposed to be happy that there are people waving foreign flags. We're not supposed to be happy that there are people that are actually fighting with the police. We're not supposed to be happy that there are cars burning, even if it is only a few blocks where this is happening, which is something I hear the Democrats point out. It's like, it's such a small area. It's such a small area, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's this week. And everyone knows that come Saturday, there's going to be protests throughout the country, and we'll see what it looks like after that, because it'll be a totally different animal when it's not just that one little, you know, square mile.
Here's what my dad told me. He got back from Nam, and he was driving a bread truck, Wonder Bread, and he said, "You want to know what happens during a ride?" I go, "What's that, Dad?" He says, "The bread man don't show up." The beer man don't show up. It's not the way to go.
Yeah. So we got this post here from Mario Knopfel. Breaking: Israel strikes Tehran, targets homes of top Iranian officials. Israel reportedly targeted the homes of Iran's top political and military officials during tonight's strike on the capital city of Tehran.
It makes sense. All those images we're seeing look like they're middle of the city.
Yeah, they're not striking they're not. This isn't an attack on the nuclear infrastructure. This is an attack on the people in charge of Iran's military and government. So that'll change the estimation and how Iran is going to respond, I imagine,
And the speed at which
significantly. Yeah, you know, if Israel were to say this is just about the nuclear missile there or their nuclear technology, then that'd be one thing. This is going to be totally different kind of response from Iran.
Seems so.
You know, I don't see Iran taking it pretty well when they were personally targeted.
yeah.
But you know, they neutered Hezbollah, so
Right.
Well, yeah.
maybe this is the pager part 2, but it's coming from the sky instead of in your pocket.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.